What's going on, guys? Welcome to my first ever trading video. So, essentially, I was just inspired. I've seen a ton of traders who I really admire. They're very successful. See them doing really well, and they started doing trade recaps and week recaps. And I love watching that. I love watching live trades. I love watching trade recaps, and I always feel like I learned something new. And so I thought, man, if I enjoy watching them so much, why don't I give it a go and see if maybe the key to their success is the fact that they're doing these recaps. I'm notoriously bad at journaling. It's just not my it's not my cup of tea. Whether they're winners or losers, it doesn't really matter. I just don't. Once the trade is done, for me, the trade is done. There's nothing else there. So I never do recaps, right? Or I don't journal. So what I'm hoping is that by doing these recaps instead, this can become kind of a little video journal that I can look back on, learn a bit from, and track my progress. Um, and hopefully, if you guys learned something too, that's fucking awesome. We're all partners kind of in this market. We're all in the community. We're all looking to try and make a bit of money. And, as far as like, I know some people are all about competition and things like that. But as far as I'm concerned with it, like, if I succeed, you succeed. If you succeed, I succeed. If we're all trading well, it's just good for everybody. We avoid those ridiculous dumps that you see in penny stocks because people don't know what they're doing and they start selling earlier. Like they just don't follow the rules, right? And so that's the great thing about trading these higher price stocks. That's why I've moved to them. I used to be in penny stock land. I absolutely was, and I don't get me wrong. I know traders there who are incredibly successful, do really really well for themselves. But for me, the drawdowns were just heartbreaking. Like they were so intense. Like when you were right, and you were usually right. But when you're wrong, and those things just dump on you, and they never give you a bounce to get out, it's so rough. So moved over to these kind of higher price stocks, and it's been awesome, man. It's been stress free trading essentially. Obviously things are a bit more stressful now with the spy dumping out a few days ago, but it is actually much less stressful for me anyway, personally. So that's why I moved here. So just a bit about me. Been training for 2 years. I'm a graduate student studying physical therapy over in Ireland, and so basically for me, as I trade the market whenever I can. Sometimes I'm in class, I trade in class. Sometimes I just miss the open and I trade later in the afternoon. But I love trading. That's kind of what I want to do, and that's why I'm sitting here in front of my computer, doing this recap instead of out with having pints with the boys. So we'll go ahead and get on into it. We'll pop over here and take a look at the one chart. Here we go. So what we'll do is switch this over to SPY. SPY would be what I watch most of the time. Let's go ahead and erase this and start from scratch. So most of the time I watch the SPY. It's just preferences. You've also got the triple Qs. I mean, they generally are like they follow fairly well. I know some people use triple Qs, some people use SPY. For me, I actually have both of them up. So triple Qs, SPY, just so I can kind of know exactly what's going on. So if we see any divergence, I can kind of plan and be prepared for whatever might be coming. So anyway, we'll go back to the SPY. So if you've been around at all for the last few days, you'd know yourself, or last week, really, the thing just fell off the edge there. Very similar to how it did back here before. Except for me, I saw this one coming a bit better. If you take a look, like there's just no sign whatsoever that this thing is about to dump. It just dumped. Versus if we come back to here, we came up, made a new high, came up, tried to make a new high, failed to make a new high, broke that trend line. Yeah, broke that trend line right there. Boom, and down we go. So for me, I just think the market does look a bit weaker now than it did before. Like that's a serious dip, right? But at the same time, look at all this volume, massive volume coming in, buying this thing up. Look at all these green candles, right? Buying it up, massive wicks off that 200 moving average. Immediately regained that 5-day moving average and then stayed above there and made space. And so the reason that I think that this really managed to pop up and come back to highs is just because when it popped so aggressively, it created all this space in here, right? So when it popped up like that, so this is the low down here, right? And that's the high. So this difference here, all of this space, this gives the stock time to try and make a new high, fail, pull back into open space fail, pull back, and you have all this space here, which allows them to make lows that aren't new lows, right? So, because if we were to at any point crack that level right there, that 253.20, this thing would have absolutely tanked. Like, would have just straight tanked, probably down to, like, I would guess at least 240, right? Just a nice big move down to that next serious level of resistance, that real breakout point there. Um, and the fact that it managed to stay above that line is why I think we managed to trend along that 200 MA, kind of regain our averages, and then push up for new highs. I think it's a bit different this time. I think that this time it came over, it gives a clear signal, sell signal for everybody. Volume is significantly less in terms of buying it up, right? Loads of people buying that dip here. Much less likely here. It's just, 200 million versus 300 and whatever that is, almost 350 million. Like that's a significant difference, and that's just in the SPY, right? So came down, broke the 200 moving average, popped back up, regained the 5-day, just like we had before. Push, 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 boom. Immediately just got stuffed into that 9 EMA. So see that, boom, come back down, and then all of a sudden you have a lower high, back beneath that 5-day moving average, which I use that as kind of a short-term indicator of a bullish or bearish, right? So closes above it, bullish, 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 closes below it, bearish, 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 closes above it, bullish. Obviously, it doesn't work perfectly, right? But it's just for me to get an idea when I come into the day, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to be bullish or bearish on this particular day. But anyway, so coming down, looking to me like if we crack this level here, a 275.50, I feel if we crack that, we're going to get a dump right down here to lows, or lows of the last 2 weeks. And then if we crack those lows, I think we've got a ways to go. On the other hand, if we double bottom there, we could see a really nice rally. So in a market like this, guys, it's all about price action, price action, price action. You absolutely cannot come in with a bias. Twice last week I came in, I was looking at a stock, and I said, I'm going to short this thing. And I had a plan, and I was shorting it. Price action showed me it was a long at the start of the day. Didn't care. Short. Literally maximized, took out my entire risk for the day, had to close down shop. As soon as I did that, gave me an entry signal for the short side right off of resistance, and boom, just dumped. So that could have been a big win for me, but instead I wasn't playing the price action, I was playing a bias, and so I lost on that day. So that's something to keep in mind with this choppy thing, because you never know. This thing could like gap up, dip down to lows, and then just rip, right? We just don't know. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it. In terms of kind of what I am thinking for the daily, so if we pop in here, so we've got the SPY here. So 5-minute hourly. Right now I'm trying to kind of expand my time frames just because I have had an issue with, like I was saying, entering shorts too early, or entering positions a bit too early. And also, really, my big issue was over trading. So it wouldn't be uncommon for me to take 7 or 8 positions within 15 minutes of the market open. That's ridiculous. It's the most stressful thing ever. And even when I'm profitable, I'm so tired trying to manage so many positions. So for me, moving to the hourly into the 5-minute, hopefully it's going to reduce the number of positions I'm taking and give me just a bit better entries. So for this, so what I'm looking at here is, okay, so what are the critical levels? Okay, so this 275.54 is what I drew on the other chart there. So that's kind of the daily level. So what we'll do is we'll take that and we'll make that yellow. That's kind of the crucial daily level. And then if I'm coming in here and I'm just looking at this, right, what I think is, you see this top right here? So I'm just going to get my drawing tool here. Perfect. So we've got this top right here. And so you'll see it comes down, tests that top, pops back up, comes all the way through, tests, fails, tests, fails, tests, fails, tests, fails, boom, breakthrough. So this tells me this is a significant level. Whether it's a significant level of supply and demand, support resistance, whatever you want to call it, there are people here selling. When it gets through, there are people buying, right? Pops through, comes back, retests the level, pops back up. So now obviously we're here and we're getting smaller range, so the range is getting tighter. So right before we were playing with this massive kind of area, now we're kind of coming under and staying closer to the line, coming over, staying closer. So this level to me is important, right? And so that's what I'm going to be watching. So what I'll be watching for in the morning is one of two things, because what stocks can go one of two ways, up or down, right? I mean, they can go sideways too, but for up or down or sideways, right? So what I'm thinking is if it gaps kind of evenly, push into that 277, right? What I'll be looking for is on the 5 minute, a push into that 277, a retest, and then a fail, right? So push, a lower high or a double top, and then just a fail. I think it's going to work. There's a ton of resistance here. I think, like I said, the market just looks bearish to me. I think this is going to be the move to go to. Otherwise, if it pushes up here, breaks over, sets a nice base over that 277 level. Well, what do we know? When it breaks over that 277, the thing rips. Breaks over that 277, rips. It didn't set a base here, but set a base over 277, rips. So basically, base over, base under, and then short or long off of that, and then just risking just off the highs or the lows. For me, big thing too is I'm looking for a bearish signal. I'm looking for a long wick here. I'm looking for a doji. Looking for a lot of volume. I'm looking for something that tells me there's no way. It's just too exhausted at this point. And then what I'll do is my entry signal will be the short. I'll short the break down of the 5 minute candle or along the breakout, right? So if it comes up, retests, and pops up, what I'll do is I'll long the breakout, the high of that breakout, or long the high of that candle, boom, and as it breaks out, I'll take that, or I'll short the low, the break of the low of this candle, and take that short there. For me, it's discipline. It's waiting for that entry, taking the trigger, right? And so that's going to be my trigger. Obviously, I don't trade the SPY personally. I know people who do with options and spread betting and stuff. I don't, just because there's not a huge amount of range. And for me, the way I look at the SPY is I look at it as a leading indicator, which means that it's kind of ahead of the curve. So, and obviously, everyone trades things themselves, and it's kind of perception, I suppose. But for me, right, if I'm in Amazon, Google, Facebook, whatever, and it's ripping, and I see this on the SPY, you'll usually get a trigger like this just before your beta stock, so one of the market-leading stocks, right? You'll get this signal will come, but your beta will still be going, right? It'll still be running. And so you can take a look at this signal on the actual indice itself and say, okay, thing looks like it's topping out. Let me pull profits. And then you can pull profits before your beta stock either makes the same signal or pulls back significantly, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. But so I don't trade the SPY, right? So what I do is I'm going to go over to Apple. We'll just do here, right? So I've got like Amazon, Apple, Netflix, AMD, BABA, NVIDIA, basically all these market-leading stocks. And what I'll be looking for is an exact same thing. So if we take, what should we do? Let's do, we'll take Amazon, because I like Amazon a lot. What the heck? That's so strange that it won't, oh, there we go. That's weird. Let me just go here real quick. Sometimes I love TC2000, and sometimes Pat Mitchell, he's my mentor for trades. He's dope. Dude is smart guy. So let's see, Amazon. Cool. So I made that line earlier. I'm just going to leave just so we can go from scratch. So Amazon's going to be the same idea, right? If we look at their daily chart. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that daily chart. Look, it's the exact same setup. Right? Oh my God, it's just amazing. There's that line right there, clear line in the sand. If that cracks, what's going to happen? We're going to see lows. Like that line is there. It's been made for us, right? We can see it so clearly. We tap it here, we tap it here, we tap it here, close above it, right? So if we get below that line and face rejection, we're going to dump pretty nicely. And then if the SPY dumps, Amazon will absolutely, look at this, man. This candle right here had just, let's see, range did we have there that day? High was 1858, low was 7. That was a 100-point day. That's 100 points in a day in Amazon, and it just dumped, right? So it's all about watching the market, right? Let's keep an eye on it and try and trade things like this. But so it's the same strategy with these stocks as it was for SPY. So if we go into the chart here, look at the hourly. Okay, cool. So what levels seem to be important? Just kind of taking a look. Grab a line here. For me, I'd say that area, that's 1780, right? So coming back a bit, there's a base there. It's the bottom of a channel. Top of the channel will be up there. But let's delete that. So tap, 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 fail, tap, fail. And obviously, it's pushed up a bit higher too. This would be the top of the next channel there, right? But so for me, this is kind of what I'm looking at. So we're in this channel here. So what does that tell me, right? If we fail at this level, we're going to pop down to 1749, and then if we break the 1749, we're going to dump. That level is the same level as on the daily, right? So this is the channel we're in. So same as with the SPY. What I'm looking for is a pop in the morning, take off up into this kind of 1780. I may even keep an eye down in this area. That's 1770. So 1780, 1770. I know it's kind of vague, but I'm not sure where it's going to go to. This would be the top of the actual channel. So I'm looking for a rip, looking for a test, a second test, so either double top higher or lower high, bearish signal on that 5 minute, so give me a massive doji, give me a selling candle, give me something, and then short the break of the low of that candle, risking off the top, and then really try and ride it down. And so 5 minute again, I'm hoping it'll help me with holding my winners a bit longer. Like, look, right, so like if you take a look at this just from yesterday, right, we're talking about channels, so if we just totally ignore what happened, if we're just looking at it from this day here, right here, right, so that's a channel here, so lower the channel, higher the channel, 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 right? So when we come in, what happened? It came up, it held that 1780 level, right, which was the bottom of that channel, pushed to the top of the channel. What happened at the top of the channel? Just zoom in here, push top of the channel, boom. That right there, that is for me a immediate short sell signal, right? That's only $3, 3 points of risk on Amazon, which is basically nothing. But for me, that's a 6 short right in there. I take that thing short 9 times out of 10. If I miss that, wait for it to pull back to VWAP, wait for it to pop, and then obviously you wouldn't have gotten quite a nice entry anywhere in here because we don't really have a trigger, right? This is the trigger, that selling indicator. And then look, this thing just absolutely tanks, right? So it taps the top of the range, taps the bottom of the range, right? It will almost always go from top to bottom of range, right? And then just beyond that, which is the fact that the SPY was having a rough day, which is what I'm saying, right? So if we can get the same kind of push up and fail into the 1780 area, man, it'll be a sweet, sweet day. So that's Amazon SPY, but basically it's the same strategy, watching all of these bad boys for any sorts of move, all of them on the 5 minute for any sort of bullish sell signals. And then again, if it pops over the levels, holds levels, and starts to rip, I will absolutely take it long. So yeah, this is kind of getting long, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, other than that, goals for this week, basically shooting 70% green on my trades. Right now I'm shooting about 60. Not looking to make more trades, looking to make less trades. So I'm looking to cut some of the fat, make some improvements. Trade less, make more, that kind of deal. And then I'm looking for my winners to be about 3 times more than my losers. So if I'm shooting 70% and then winners 3 times more than my losers, I'll be pretty happy. Lofty goal for the week, but I think with a bit of discipline in the market we're in right now, and if I just stick to my time frames and stick to my triggers, I think I can absolutely make it happen. So all of you guys, hope you picked something up. Any questions about any indicators or anything that I use, feel free to comment down. I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday. Trade safe, trade the price action. All right, don't let that bias put you in a tough position, because accounts can blow up so easily in this market, whether you're playing penny stocks or these higher priced ones. If you chase, you will suffer, period. So don't chase, get the good entries, take the entries, and hold all day. But yeah, so again, trade safe, trade the price action, and I will see you guys on Monday.